house. I was already here. I just left for a little bit to go pick up fluids, spark plugs, and other miscellaneous stuff like snacks. Let's get to it. All right, CRV running great. Got this thing torn apart. I've got the plugs out. Right now I'm going to go ahead and drain the oil, see how that's looking. So I had mentioned before, or I don't know if I had made a video about this at all since. So I having a lot of problems with blow by, getting a lot of white smoke out the tailpipes. Something I did notice is on the turbo, actually I originally had the vacuum line to the wrong port. I had it up here where the electronic boost controller would be, and I just switched it to down here. We're gonna go ahead and throw that back in right now. And then as I mentioned, I have fluids to go right in afterwards, and then hopefully it'll fire right up and we won't have any issues. So let's see what happens. All right, so before I throw this guy in, let me give you guys a rundown of this turbo setup. This is the stock Gen 3 3S2T manifold, and it has a billet CNC T3 to the twin scroll adapter plate, and it is on a 3582 turbo. And then let me go ahead and flip this around. All right, here's the underside of the turbo. The wastegate is welded directly to the hot side. Just decided to do that for keeping it nice and tight, nice and tidy per se. So there is that. Gonna go ahead and throw it back in now.
My sister, she let me move in with her in Albuquerque, and I was like, we're figuring that wouldn't fucking work, and I had no money, and if I did,
Yes, you talk, but you have to figure out how people are perceiving you.
Sure.
And that's a big part.
I swear, dude. I swear.
All right, so a little while later, plugs are in, turbo is in, oil drain, oil feed is all hooked up. Now I just got to put the fluids in. The oil itself looks pretty clean. Already went through that. It looks really good. Nothing over here to show you guys. So let me go ahead and top it off with the fluid, and then we could crank it up and see what happens. All right, so I just got it on right now. Turned it on. Everything sounded pretty good. What I did notice, you guys can see it's a little smoky in here from all the oil burning off that I was working on, touching stuff. One thing I did notice is this guy was making a funny noise, the wastegate itself. So it sounds like it's stuck open. I had a good amount of exhaust flowing through there. Car itself didn't sound too bad. All of the noise that was coming excess was from the wastegate itself. So I'm assuming it's stuck open. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that off right now. Replace it with one of the other ones. See if that fixes the issue. Should. So let's go ahead and get this thing up on the ramps that I have. For anybody that hasn't seen back here, this is my 13-gallon fuel cell, fuel pump, and my fuse box that I put back here. All right, so let's get this guy up on the ramps and get that wastegate switched up.
For your chance to win, a 2022 Porsche GT Urate has transferred over to the pre-order funds. We've got an oil pan leak, a steer rack leaks as well, and all these small things that make a huge difference in this being a shit box.
One of the coolest things I've been 3D printed ever in my life. So this will take the
exhaust, oil burning up in the hot side of the turbo. I just looked underneath, you could see, can you see through there? Yeah, you can see through their little puddle of oil down there. So right on the hot side of the turbo, there is exhaust, there is oil pouring out. So I'm gonna assume the turbo is bad, even though I did inspect it. Didn't take it apart, just, you know, looked at it and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get under the car, see if we could see where it's leaking from. You can see right there on the hot side of the turbo, all that leakage. Luckily I have my fuel tank removed because I don't have that anymore, and I can show you guys a little closer through here. So you can see right there where all the oil is coming out of and causing all the smoke to go ahead and be created. Right now I'm gonna get the wastegate off because it is stuck open. So this is our issue, and then we're gonna need a new turbo. So there's that. I've been wanting to go V-band anyways, so this is good, I suppose. So let's get this all pulled off. Well, let's see if we can get this to focus. You guys can hear that. That is the result of a really bad turbo with bad seals on both sides. So as you guys saw earlier, it was leaking on the exhaust side, and now confirmed that it's also leaking on the compressor side. See how there's oil spilt everywhere. I was wondering where that was coming from, but that's that. Well, now we know it was just a bad turbo. Looks like this guy's out the door, and time to get a new one. Got the ground pulled out. All right, well, see you guys in a little bit. So I got the car up on the stands, not on the stands, I mean on the ramps. It was sticking out a little bit before, moved it forward, moved it back, whole lot of oil spillage. So as you guys saw, turbo is bad, whole lot of oil coming out of both sides of the turbo. So we're gonna go ahead and rip that out in a little bit, and then put it back on the table, set up again. I guess we're getting a new turbo, and then the hot side, I'm probably gonna switch out the hot side also because I want to do a V-band, and that's a 4-bolt. So I'm gonna have to re-weld a wastegate for the hot side. That's for another video. For now, let's go ahead and rip this apart, and then we'll tear the turbo apart, see how bad it is. A little while later, got the turbo taken out, and as you guys can see, there's oil everywhere on the downpipe, inside, and then on the valve cover, and also discovered that we have oil in cylinder number 1. So we have a bad valve stem, no big deal, we'll get that fixed. And then have the turbo over here leaking oil out of both sides. So that's definitely bad. I'm just gonna tear it apart and show you guys that, but there's no need to do that. Just gonna let it dry up and make it a cool wall decoration. Order a new turbo, and then maybe use the same setup. Probably not. I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but we'll see.